I guess I'll talk about Cass, who is a Slack bot that you can talk to and is my digital twin. She's had multiple versions. Her most recent version is just the DataRobot agent application, lightly customized with some stuff. So we could actually construct a new Cass if we wanted, a new me as a service or Yaz. We could add new features to existing Cass. I can share that repo with you folks too. Happy to go any direction with this stuff. It's kind of fun to build it from scratch. Like, it really isn't a lot of work to make a yourself as a service from our agent template. We could even try it with DR Assist and see if we can make yourself as a service. Lots of options there. I will probably be stealing from Cass for the stuff that I don't want to have to reinvent regardless. So she's a custom app, and you'll recognize probably the UI, although it's styled after, of course, my personal website. I had to follow my purple and pink color scheme. This may be notable different from the corporate structure. Amongst her features, she has ways to just dump in new memories, or if I want to write a blog post or I want to test out a scheduled job. She has some scheduled work. This is her most recent advancement. We're going to potentially spin this into its own AF component. But she does my daily deep research on stuff, for example. And that's all in addition to her Slack app, which is a whole different piece within her. So hopefully these folders look fairly common to you. So this is just the agent starter application. It's just a fork of it at some point. And in her fast API server, she has a silly start app, SH, that adds the Slack app. So it just runs two services at the same time. And I used our Slack custom application template as the basis for it, but then I had feelings about it. So it got some changes. Actually, that Andre just incorporated and updated our example Slack app based on some of the stuff that we did here in Cass. But that's where you just need a Slack app token and bot token. The instructions for setting that up are in our templates. So I can go through that too. Lots of places we can take this. But really just, agent starter kit. And then on my computer, I guess, I have, if I hop into every weird project I do goes into my skunk folder because I kind of think of it as my skunk works versus my working, code folder. That's where all the real DataRobot stuff is. But over here in skunk is all the weird stuff like Cass. So in here, you'll notice she has a knowledge base folder, and that's where all these memories are. So I dumped a ton of Confluence stuff. I used the Confluence MCP tool in Cloud to just grab all the stuff that I authored at one point. That was part of the pipeline. And then my memories get brought down. So when I say I store a memory, this uses the files API in DataRobot, and I just say don't forget. That's nice. And you'll see that she'll say, I stored this memory. So I have Slack problems. Let me see how many unread DMs I have right now. 284 unread DMs on Slack, in group channels and thread mentions. It's a problem. I am sorry to everyone. I cannot keep up with it. I can only work so many hours a day. My brain can only interact with humans so much. Let me pull up Cass's help on this one. That is a significant part of what she does for me is listen for me and send it off to so everywhere Cass is in every Slack channel, she's listening for me. She only follows mentions, so it's not creepy. Well, maybe it's still a little creepy, but she will go and see, oh yeah, you mentioned Carson. Let me send it off to the LLM and decide whether I need to do anything with this mention. And so the agentic workflow will categorize that and send it back to Slack, the Slack bot, and then determine whether, I get a DM from Cass to be they need your opinion. Here is, it was determined, my agentic workflow decided that this mention required a decision from me, and those are prioritized. And so I make sure and hop in, and it gives me a little briefing. I can skip the 700 thread thing a little bit. It's new. I'm experimenting with it. It's to try to be better for people and not replace myself, kind of thing. But yes, that is part of it. When I go to deploy Cass, she has a cool VDB component, which I posted as a blog post. Now's where the jeers can start because I use Emacs 99% of the time and a real ID. But she goes and synchronizes those as a Elimi task from the files API attached to her deployment. She'll go dump those into the knowledge base folder, and then that gets added to the VDB dataset. So dumps it into the folder, makes a zip, and then attaches it to the vector DB, and then that vector DB gets picked up by the LLM. That's how all the magic happens. That's how she becomes me.
Wait, so you can't like incrementally add to the vector database? It has to like get rebuilt every time, or what?
Welcome to DataRobot VDBs. Until very recently, that was the only option that DataRobot VDBs had. DataRobot supports Pinecone and Elastic. Anyway, that new memory we just stored, right? It's a little tool call to dump that into the files API as a LLM generated file name. And then it will go ahead and you can see it's grabbed those out of the files API, including that newest memory that we just got.
The concern is that sometimes people send, credentials or other information in Slack when they probably shouldn't. That's what, 1Password is really for. But I know I've seen people do it. If you're putting that into files and vector databases and possibly going into the traceability as well, that could lead to unencrypted PII being, visible in places maybe it shouldn't be. Just like we worry about that showing up in Jenkins or Harness or whatever the case may be. Just kind of a general concern about that. You don't want to be leaking stuff.
Yeah, so we can kind of, look at our code a little bit. It's not like I don't think about that a little bit. There's the CAS that I get to use that none of this can leak into Slack and only goes to me. And then there's the stuff that y'all use CAS for and the mentions. I do very much have her only filter mention tracking in the Slack code so that it's only when you mention me that she even logs or even knows that she's been invoked.
You could use the PI guardrail model.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you want to pop into my playground?
You would do it at the workshop. So after you register to workshop, go to registry, workshop. Do you have a PI model deployed?
Great question. I guess we can do that, right?
It's a global. It should be one of the global models.
It's filtered by global.
Yeah, you should already have it somewhere.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, or just to do a PI detection.
All right. And then deploy it?
Mm-hmm. Admittedly, I haven't done any modifications on this, so don't know if there's a lot, what kind of flexibility we have. But for now, I guess you can just deploy it and use it as is.
Just use it as is?
Yeah, for now.
I'm sure it'll be somewhat context specific, meaning that, if you have a thread, a single message that has the credentials might not be detectable without the preceding messages in the thread as additional context.
Are you muted?
There's a trash truck. I had somebody sent Cass a password. We can see if we logged it.
Do we tag Cass or do we tag you?
You can just send Cass a message, I guess. Just go into the app and message and be like, hey, here's this cool password. And it's password 12345.
I asked Cass if Carson is nice. Can you check if it got it?
Yeah. Wow. I guess that would be. Oh, yeah. There's Carson nice. Just glasses.
Cass was just laying it on me and Carson is real. Whether they're nice or mean, they're the Carson is direct. It's okay, Cass.
All right. This is where it's maybe. That's awesome. This is maybe where it's fun to share Cass's soul while we're waiting for that to deploy. Here's her soul. I'm supposed to be whimsical and rad, not concise and brief. This is very important.
Can we use Cass in your absence? Was that why you built it?
Yes, so eventually I can just not go to work anymore. Cass has taken over all of my needs and coding assignments. Argues in large meetings. I need to give her an actual voice at some point to be like, no, that's not aligned to our strategic goals or technical direction. The reason I signed up was for the Jira, so thank you, Julie, Jeremy, Austin, everybody back giving me the what for. It's well deserved and well appreciated.